Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope everyone's doing well. This is Practical Absolutes. And this video is dedicated to the individuals of the Ummah who are situated in European countries and the United States. Now, what I mean by the Ummah, I mean by the Muslim nation as a whole. But again, this video is dedicated towards individuals who live in European countries and America, commonly known as the West, but there's an issue I can say about that in and of itself. But individuals who live in these countries that are Muslim will experience a certain level of disdain for them, right? And this amount of disdain is becoming more and more apparent with time, you know? We're seeing that, let's say that you are, of course, a practicing Muslim, and you are in a given space around non-Muslims that you have to confide in for some reason, or be friends with, or work with, or, you know, be in a proximity of. Now, let's say that you work with them or you go to school with them. They will hold off their overt disdain for the Islamic faith if you pose some level of use to them, or if there's some requirement of tolerance of them towards you being a Muslim, right? But they will not control the unconscious bias, unconscious cognitive dissonance, and unconscious disdain towards the religion you hold dearly to your heart. I'll elaborate. Now, they may not go to you overtly and say, I need you to denounce Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, subhanallah. Not at all. But what they will do is ask you, oh, if you're a lady, why don't you just take off your niqab, take off your hijab? You know, it's hot, right? Just go ahead and take it off. It's a little hot in here. We don't want you to sweat, right? Or, you know, Muslim brothers or sisters, they'll ask you questions to get you to go against your deen in the smallest or largest of magnitude, typically the smallest magnitude. They'll do that, right? They'll try to get you to go back on your faith, somehow, some way. Try to associate shirk or kufr with the belief of al-Islam, right? And when you do not agree with the ideas that they're trying to push on you, you're going to be labeled a sort of extremist, right? You're going to be labeled a sort of individual who cannot progress, cannot think innovatively, right? Someone who cannot go with the way of the times. But the way of the times has been exact as it has been before. You see, this progression that individuals speak of in America, the body positivity, the lack of shame, it was prevalent in the pagan history of Europe, right? The idea of going around having sex with as many partners as possible was prevalent pre-Christian Europe, right? Which is pretty much encompassing a larger amount of time in Europe than the entirety of Christian times in Europe. So this is not progression that a lot of these individuals are talking about. This is just more or less repetition of paganism and paganist thought, right? But if you go against that, they'll have a disdain for you. They'll have a hate for you. They will dislike you. And I'm experiencing myself. I've been experiencing it thus far. And it even gets worse if you, let's say you're in a school scenario or you're in a work scenario and the quote unquote authoritative figure is posing a sort of level of praise towards you, right? They say, oh, you're doing a great job, or this, that, in front of your colleagues or coworkers. It could be something as subtle as an eye twitch, or as a sucking of the teeth, or as a slight sigh, or it can manifest themselves as interrupting you when you're in a group discussion, or preventing you from being able to get your thought out clearly, or acting as though they're dismissive towards what you're saying when you're saying something to them after they were talking to you, right? These things, more often than not, is done unconsciously, but sometimes, in a more heinous sense, is done consciously. I've experienced being in class and professors congratulating the level of questioning I had for a specific topic, or the fact that I was quote unquote on it, or quote unquote on top of it, right? To which I would see some of my peers look at me with a level of disdain. Now, this level of disdain could be due to more than just Muslims, being a Muslim. It could be due to the fact that I may be considered some level of aesthetically pleasing. I could probably present myself pretty well. I probably speak pretty well to them. I probably smell pretty good. I probably have some sort of attributes they want, particularly if they're men, right? But if you're a Muslim, it makes it worse typically, more often than not. Individuals who have a disdain towards you and you have these other qualities, they don't become a sort of more tolerant of you because you're Muslim. It's the opposite. They have more disdain for you, more dislike, and they try to rationalize with themselves and others who are non-Muslim as to why you are the problem, why you are someone who is needing to change and conform with the ideas and notions that are considered to be progressive in the European countries in America, when they're anything but. I know that this is a daily fitna for all Muslim brothers and sisters in the Western countries. I'm using Western countries facetiously because I can talk about why that's an issue in and of itself, but inshallah. I pray that my brothers and sisters of this ummah continue to work on building their strength in the haqq, working on navigating through the daily fitness and jihad of every day. Because inshallah, time will tell whose ideological representation of how the world truly is and how it should be holds up. Jazakallahu khairan. Ma salamu wa assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.